Hello and welcome. My name is Kathy A, and today I thought I would do my January faves and flops. And some of these faves and flops include some of those things that people had in their best of 2018 lists. I mean, like you, I wrote down notes and I had a wish list of things I wanted to purchase because they just made everything sound so good. And I did buy some of those things, and I've got some faves and flops out of there. So let's start off with something really cool that I was watching Wayne Goss, and he was talking about using those under eye shields that help keep your makeup straight, and it also keeps the fallout from getting on your face. Well, I don't know, it was maybe a year or two ago, I had seen something, I don't know if it was 5 Minute Crafts or one of those, where they cut up panty liners. And you can get like this little pack of 20 panty liners. And they look like this, and of course when you open them up, they look like this. And you can cut them into little patches, and there's an adhesive on the back, of course. And I can make 5 out of each one, 5 of them out of each one of the panty liners. And it's really cool, actually. It's a very, very cool thing to do.
Hey, I'm sorry. I know how important what you're doing is with these panty liners. What you didn't tell them is that we went to Walgreens and you were still wearing them. So that was a bit of a problem. Also, isn't it my day to audition?
Sure.
Okay.
Have a seat.
I am going to audition for the role of, let's see, subscription man, yes. Which means I come into and bore you to death telling you how you subscribe, but the most important thing is my wife works really hard here. Let's get some subscribers. Let's get over the 11,000 mark. I mean, come on, folks. She's really good at this, and she's in a brand new studio. Did you let them know that?
Yes, and my brand new digs here. We're still going through some growing pains, but yeah.
Well, anyway.
I'm a happy girl. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
I'll see what I can knock down on my way out.
Get the lights and everything. Okay.
You double the size of your studio, you just double your stuff.
Yeah. Thanks, Budman. So anyway, I think it's a great idea, and one of the problems with like the cheapy liners that you get at Walmart, the Equal ones and all those Equate, and even in Amazon, you would wind up having a problem with this adhesive that's on the back. But these things, the panty liner adhesive is very gentle, so you don't even think about it when you order these things, but you don't want to rip up your skin or damage your skin in that area, especially that area, because it's such a sensitive area. So if you get a little packet of these, they're about $1 to $1.25 for 20 of them, and you can make 5 out of each. So that's a huge savings on the ones that are officially cut for you. So you just have to be a little bit creative, think outside the box, and don't think about what these things are really for. On my eyes today...
Wait, next week there are tampons being used as earplugs.
Go away. Go away. All right. On my eyes, I have somebody else's favorites. This was Emily Noel's favorite. These are the double wispies. And I had to cut a little of them off because they were just a teeny bit long for me. She has bigger space in her eyes, I think. But these are the double up wispies, and I had a little trouble putting them on. They're so thick, I guess, that I had a little trouble with them. So I don't know. I wound up going and getting a new lash glue, and this is called Eye Glue. This is new from Kiss. And Kiss makes my favorite strip lash glues anyway, so this one, it goes on blue and then it dries clear. They also have a black version, but I really like this, and it holds so well. What a difference between this and the Benefit lash glue. I mean, this is so much better, and it's cheaper. I think it's only like $6 or something. So if you see this, you may want to pick it up. I really like it. It's as a lash glue, it's great. It is it's got glacial extract, whatever the heck that is, and that is a, it's good for people who have contact lenses, so sensitive eyes. I didn't find any eye irritation whatsoever, and I, especially in winter, have really sensitive eyes, so this is a great find. I think also, I think it was Emily Noel that did mention these. These are the MILANI Lip Plumper Glosses, and there is a pepperminty thing that goes on with them. There's one in a shimmery nude and one in peach, I think it is. Prismatic peach. And they're very pretty when they go on. You can really neutralize a really strong dark color with a gloss like this, and I like them both actually. The Prismatic Peach is very pretty over just about anything. I have a very strong matte red, and when you put something, you know, nice and light over the top of it, it takes some of that edge off, because I think it can look really harsh sometimes if you're wearing a matte lipstick and it's just matte, you know, especially on an older face. You gotta be careful with that stuff, you really do. Now, I was just dying to try this brand because a lot of people love it, and this is the Sugar Pill. This is the liquid lip color. This particular color is called Cubby. It's extremely bright, like neon. I wish I had known that, but you know, when you're looking online, I was thinking, well, get out of your comfort zone, you know, try something new. And this is extremely like neon. One thing that impressed me about this particular lip color and formulation was that it lasted all day into the night. In fact, the next day it was still on my lips. I couldn't get it off, so I had to use a micellar water to get it off with, and my wine wipes. I had to use my wine wipes to get it off. So it's very bright, a little bit too bright for me, but I love the formulation, and I'm going to look and see what other colors they have. Sugar Pill. I sound like such an old person today. Okay, well, and that is Cubby, is that color. A little bit too strong for me. Jordana. Wow, they are hitting it out of the park. This is their Pigment Shine lip colors. They've got like a special little display in Walgreens. Pick these colors up if nothing else. Number 1, number 2, and number 9. Absolutely gorgeous liquid lip colors, and they're not matte. They're like a pretty shiny satiny color. They last really well. They wear down nicely, and I'm loving it. This one is the darkest one. This is the berry shade. So Berry Nice, I think it's called. But they're all very shiny, and it makes such a difference with a liquid lip to have that kind of thing going on. So the medium shade I like probably the best. That's number 2. And there are some darker ones as well, and there's one that has shimmer micro glitter in it. I think it's called Love Bite or something. So definitely Jordana. You know, they have some good quality products. You can't thumb your nose up at some of their stuff, because I do like their eyeliners are nice and some of their other stuff. As you know, I did re-enter some of the Tarte products back into my collection that I had taken out or given away last year because I was protesting all about them. And these are, of course, new shades. This is Seduce, and this one is Dollface. These are new to me. The Dollface is more for somebody who really likes cool tone blush. A little goes a long way. It's not as strong Barbie pink as you think. It gives you a nice, pretty flush. It's a very pretty flush. It really is truly a Dollface color. It's very subtle. Even on my warm tone skin, it looks very, very, I don't know if I can do it here, but it looks very, very pretty on my face. If you're wondering what's going on with my eyes, I was playing around with I have this nail polish on that is, it's like a chartreuse color, and so I found in my Viseart glitter palette, I found a chartreuse that matches it, so I've been just having fun with that. It's good to play sometimes with your makeup and have fun with it. You know, it can't be so stuffy sometimes. You know, that's old people stuff. So Tarte has probably the best blushes on the market. I think their blushes are great. They're made out of Amazonian clay, which is skin benefit kind of ingredient. So when given a choice, I really do like Tarte blushes. And new to me anyway, Tarte came out with a line of highlighters, and they named them similarly to their blushes. And this highlighter is called Exposed, which, as you know, Exposed is their most famous blush color, which is like a neutral pinky nude color. This is a very golden shade, champagne-y kind of shade, and you can see there. Let me see if I can put it on if you can see it. A little goes a long way. You don't want to get too chromy with it. Chromy looks crummy. That's what I think. There we go. Okay, that's a little chromy, but see, you don't need very much. This is going to last forever, and it was just a little like sample size. So I really do like that from Tarte, their highlighter. Moving into powders. I haven't tried it in years, and I loved it, and I think and I have them all linked below, my best of the year powders was the Stay Matte from RIMMEL powder. I haven't tried it in so long, and I remember now what I loved about it. So I think what I'm going to do is depot this and put it into a pretty canister, because the packaging sucks. You know, RIMMEL, if you are listening, RIMMEL, get better packaging. I'd pay an extra $1 for a better package. So just keep that in mind. I'm sure I'm very influential there. So this is the Stay Matte powder from RIMMEL, and if you haven't tried it in a while, give it a try, because it's a very nice face powder, all around face powder setting. Somebody was talking about this. This was one of their favorites of the year, and I don't know if it was Tati or if it was Angie Hot and Flashy or if it was Emily Noel. This is the foundation match mixers, and it's 2 bottles. One is dark and one is light, and they are foundation pigmentation that will make your foundation go light or dark. Now, we all know about the Cover FX ones, and we know about some of the other things, but what's cool about these, it comes with this tray, which is really nice. I'll put a little bit of foundation down so you can see what I'm talking about. So especially if you're going from winter into spring and summer, and you want to kind of darken up your foundation, you just take like a drop of this, and you can, maybe 3 drops, okay. And then you can just mix it with your finger or with your brush, and you can come up with a different color, completely different color. So you can darken it by a half shade, a full shade, 2 shades. The only glitch here is that this is basically made for light skinned folks, because there definitely is nothing that's really dark that's going to help you, you know, go. There's nothing that's going to help a darker skin tone. So see, you can go lighter here, you can go darker here, by a half shade or a full shade, whatever you need to do for your adjustments, and this will save you a lot of money in the long run. It's very cheap. For the kit itself was very cheap, and it's definitely worth it. You get the 2 bottles of stuff. They do not alter your foundation formulation, so you won't notice any kind of a change with how your foundation goes on, but you will notice the color difference, and I just think that's a wonderful thing. Absolutely wonderful. And I like the fact that you get this tray that you can use with any makeup. You can put any makeup on it, or concealer, whatever you need to use a tray for. Speaking of trays, I'm going to get this for their perk, their 100-point perk. It says, but first, beauty. This is from Sephora, and they are trying desperately to revamp their perk system so that it makes the subscribers happier, because I think they're noticing they're losing a lot of us to Ulta. I think Ulta is really getting so much better with the variety of new brands that they're pulling in, and their program where you get money, you know, equivalents, kind of like extra bucks at CVS. You get kind of extra bucks at Ulta, and you can use it right now. I think I had like $14 off the Ulta extra bucks kind of thing. Disappointed am I. The e.l.f. concealer, the Camo Concealer, 16-hour concealer. It is not for people who have texture under their eyes or dryness, and it actually smoothed out. It didn't really cover that well. As this was a total fail. The e.l.f. Camo Concealer. So don't even bother, even though it's cheap, don't even bother. Another fail in the face makeup is the Forever DIOR makeup. I'm so glad they sent me a little sample because it was awful. It went right into my lines, and it gave me that lace pattern under my eyes, and those of you who have dry skin know what I'm talking about. It looks like lace was laying on underneath your eyes. So this didn't work. DIOR doesn't work for me. I don't know why, but I guess they're just not gearing everything towards dry skin. Really large display in CVS of Maybelline lip products, especially there's one whole big display of just this one color, and this is the red for me. There's also pink for me and mauve for me. They have several other colors as well, but these were the lightest shades, except this red was the, I guess this is their Valentine red that they're doing. It's just a little bit dark for me and a little bit more, it's a true red, but that tends to go more towards the blue tone, and I don't find that that's as flattering on me as other things. However, if you put this on and then put one of the lip glosses over the top of it, it does kind of smooth it out a little bit. So let me just show you. It kind of softens it a little bit, but it's still a strong color. And they showed like all these women sitting down on a sofa all wearing the same color, and it was called Red for Me. So Red for Me, number 382, that's this, and I put a gloss over it or I can't wear it. Now the other two colors that I got, Pink for Me and Mauve for Me, surprisingly, if you look at them, you would think the Pink for Me is a lighter shade, but it actually is dark. It's quite dark. This is Pink for Me. And this one is Mauve for me. So you can see they're so similar too. I mean, they really could have gotten a little more creative, I think, with their color range in this particular line, because the formula is great. The formula stays really well. It goes on creamy. It's not a flat matte where you look like your lips are all cracked. So, I mean, the formulation for this particular line is pretty good. It's just the color range I wasn't that pleased with. So, you know, if you like these kind of colors, it's definitely a great thing. And they are in their own display. I think they have them over across from the candy counter. They have like the separate makeup display away from the regular makeup, so I don't know if this is going to be in their regular line or not. So another old favorite and an old friend that I haven't seen in a long time and I haven't used in a long time is the Maybelline Age Rewind Face Erase in the Dark Circle cover. And this is shade 110. Which is I think it's the lightest shade. They do have quite a display of them going across. Angie likes to take the spongy thing off, because I don't like the spongy thing either. And the trick here is to just turn it. You can turn it. And you can put the hook on that tray from Ulta, or you can put it on your hand. I generally like to put concealers on my hand, so you've got that warming up things. And this actually had great coverage, good staying power. I don't know why I stopped using it. I think for a while there, I think I wasn't using Maybelline. But it goes on really nicely. If you haven't tried this in a while, revisit it, because drugstore concealer that works as well as many of the high-end concealers. Definitely nice to revisit that. And Covergirl went cruelty-free last year, and we have a really incredibly good new line of lipsticks. These two happen to fail, and they are in the cream lipstick section, although some of the creams that aren't satiny are beautiful. These two satiny ones remind me of things my mom used to wear in 1972. This is it's like that silvery frosty color. This is the Romance Mauve. See how shiny that is? It just doesn't look good on the lips. It gives you this kind of aged look. And the same thing with this other one. This is Ravaging Rose. Same idea. It's a little too shiny, although it would be pretty if it was like more matte or more satin, but it's just a little too shiny. So you get that 70s look. One thing in that line that worked really well, it's a little more cream oriented rather than satin, and that is this one, which is in Decadent Peach. It's a very, very bold and bright, pretty peach color. I really like it a lot. It lasts well. It wears down nicely. It's just a pretty bright spot of color, you know, which we kind of need in wintertime. It's really bad. We just had really terrible storms here. I'll just talk briefly about them because I talked about them before, but the concealer, the creaseless concealer from Tarte, is just an amazing thing. And I suspiciously think it is Shape Tape with maracuja oil in it because it works so well. Shape Tape doesn't work for me. It gets into my lines and creases and dries. I don't like Shape Tape. I'm one of the few people that hates it. But this is so similar to it, but it has the maracuja oil, and I think that's the difference. You get this hydration that you don't get with the Shape Tape, and it's beautiful. It's a very thick formula, so you have to do the, you know, Raggedy Ann thing with it, and then just take your ring finger and tug pat, and it really makes a pretty under eye. So this is the creaseless concealer from Tarte. This is one of my favorite concealers, and I'm so glad that I've rediscovered that brand. This is a new brand to me, and I did buy this with my own cash money. This is the Prep and Go Hydro Bright Concealer from a company called Lune & Aster. And it's a very serum-y kind of concealer. I think it was Elle Leary that talked about it, and I went out and got it, and I love it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, full coverage concealer, but it's not cakey at all. It doesn't dry, it doesn't go into the lines, it doesn't crease. It's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I think I have the ivory shade. Yes, I have the ivory shade. I might go maybe a half shade darker than this next time, but I do like it, and I think you have to go to their website to get it. Now, in the hoity-toity section of Ulta, they have this little section back near the salon. If you have an Ulta that has a salon, there's a little hoity-toity skincare section where they put all the fancy, high-priced skincare stuff. And Exhibitionist is one of the fancy skincare lines, but this is their foundation. Oh my gosh, this is just wonderful. This is the Exhibitionist Cover Blend Skin Caring Foundation, and if you have the opportunity to try this, you definitely want to. There is a pump on it as well. I'll just put a little bit on. I hate to waste it, but it's a good medium coverage. I just went over all the blushes with it. When it dries down, it smells like a salad. It's very healthy. It's good for you. When it dries down, it's not matte and it's not too shiny. It's just a very pretty, luminous looking foundation. So if you have dry skin and you're having trouble finding a foundation, this is a really nice one. For mascaras in the drugstore, I might have talked about this last month, but I'm still thrilled with it. This is the Wonderfully Real Mascara from RIMMEL. And this is a great big honkin' lash all-purpose mascara. It's got a nice controllable brush, gives you really super long, super full lashes. Absolutely wonderful. I like this very much. The Wonderfully Real Mascara from RIMMEL. And also, I know I talked about this in my Tarte haul. This is the Gifted Mascara from Tarte, the one that looks like granola and crunchy and yoga, but it has the most volume, the most length of any of the Tarte mascaras. I like it better than Lights Camera Lashes, and they had, at one point, I remember they had Lights Camera Flashes, which I don't know if that was the waterproof version or just extra strong, but this is a wonderful mascara, and it's just perfect. I mean, the wand is great, the formula is great, it doesn't leave little dings under your eyes, and it makes perfect lashes. So Gifted from Tarte is one of my favorite mascaras right now. I am rotating them, so for eyeliners, I would say that it's a really good competitor for Kat Von D's Trooper mascara in black, you know, her ink mascara. This is the NYX Professional Makeup Epic Ink Liner. Wonderful. I use this when I have false lashes on. It's the only time I use a liquid black liner, is to kind of fill in the space. If I mess up putting my false lashes and there's like a little skin showing, or I need to draw a line to get up to the lash, I will do it with this, and it works really well. Get a thin line or a thick line. It hasn't dried out yet. I've had this for about 3 months and I love it. Moving into other people's favorites that I didn't really like. This is the Physicians Formula. This is Tropical Day palette, and there is a Tropical Night palette that has slightly different colors in it. Smells like coconut, really strong. I don't know where that is a thing with them. I don't understand it. If you will recall, Wet n Wild owns Physicians Formula, you know, or the other way around. But anyway, they're part of the same company now, so you know that they're going to become less stuffy, and Wet n Wild is maybe going to get a little more quality stuff going on. Now these colors are a little deceiving because they don't look exactly like they swatch, and they swatch a little bit, they're a little bit lighter than you would expect them to be. I found like the blue, the teal especially, to be extremely conservative looking compared to what it looks like in the palette, and the purple didn't really do all that much either. There are some standout colors. The base color, this pretty white shade you can use, again, you know, up here, or you can use it on the inner corners. There is a pretty kind of a taupey shimmer that looks really pretty under the eyes. A dark brown, which is really nice. I'm not that keen on this pumpkin-y brown shade, but it was okay. It wasn't anything that I would write home about, and I don't think that the color story here is as good as it could be for what they're doing. They do have some looks that they have demonstrated here using the different colors of the different things. I didn't like any of their looks at all, so maybe it's just me, you know, it's just me, it's user error. A couple of people mentioned that they love these new MILANI blushes. These are the Color Harmony blush palettes, and what they are is kind of a combination of a bronzer slash contour, a darker color blush, a medium color blush, and a highlight shade. And I've seen people stick their brush and go through the whole thing and then put it on their face and then make this big slapped upside the head kind of look. Just not my thing at all. What I do and how I've used it is I just kind of take my finger and go into, let's just add more to this little cherub cheek here. I go into individual colors. I do like this kind of peachy coral color, and this other color is slightly darker version. It reminds me of draping back from the 1980s. Do you remember draping? We used to use a lighter shade up here and a darker shade underneath. They called it draping. back then. Now they call it contouring, and you use a brown shade. This highlight is not my favorite. It's a very weird color, and it doesn't look good on. And smearing all of these around, I didn't like that look either. It was very disco ball. So this was not really one of my favorite palettes. I would much rather, I do like MILANI blushes. I don't want to throw shade on their blushes, but I would buy the individual blush shades that I like from this rather than getting this. No scent to this, thank goodness. There's some companies still don't do that. I mentioned earlier about the full spectrum line that came out from Covergirl. Now Covergirl also spawned that Flesh line, Flesh, that came out through Ulta. Do you remember that? Everybody was making fun of the names. Some of the products weren't bad in that Flesh line, but I thought they were very overpriced. And if they're going to do expansions to their line, I think this probably is a better area to go. Full spectrum foundation. At first, when I put it on, it looked great. There are a lot of shades of this, so it's very inclusive, except for very light people and extremely dark. You couldn't find either of those two ends of the spectrum, but everybody in between could find a shade for them. It was a little bit warm. Mine came in the mail from Ulta, and I was a little surprised that my pump is broken, or top, or whatever it is that's supposed to be here. I don't have a pump on mine. Yeah, it's kind of a mid-range, medium coverage, medium to light coverage foundation. There is a light scent to it. I didn't really like it. It didn't work well for me. It went straight into my lines. I have some strong lines here on either side of my nose, and I hate when a foundation gets all cracky and dry looking around my nose, and this did that. So just like the Superstay, which is coming up next. Superstay from Maybelline. This is the 24-hour foundation. This color is 112, Natural Ivory, I think it is. A little bit light for me. It's a little warm toned. When I put it on initially, I thought, this is beautiful. It looks great. It seemed to blend really nicely. I put my other makeup over the top. It seemed to look good. And about maybe an hour later, I was in my car driving, and I was stopped in traffic. So I pulled down my mirror and had a look. And my gosh, there was all kinds of line. It had really migrated to the lines. Underneath my eyes was bad. I didn't like it at all. Oh my God, my pores on my chin were showing through like little polka dots. So unfortunately, this one didn't work for me, and I know a lot of people like this, and they said it was their favorite. So, you know, foundations, concealers, and mascaras, everybody's got their own favorites, and they don't agree with anybody else. If you ask 10 different YouTubers their favorite foundation, their favorite concealer, their favorite mascara, I would wager to bet every single one of them will have a different answer for every category. So, you know, you can't really take my word for gold on this, but if you do have really dry skin, a lot of texture, and a lot of deep lines, I would stay away from this. Somebody loved this, and I bought it because somebody else loved it. I hope they're not watching to see, because they'll know they're the ones. I watch a lot of other YouTubers, and especially a lot of other YouTubers in my age range. Always seeing how things react on them, and there are a lot of things like eyeshadows and cheek blushes and lip products that do tend to go across the board, you know, in the same direction, so I would trust people's opinions on those things. This is Touch and Soul, and it's called the Advanced Real Moisture Liquid Foundation, and they just loved it. It looked good on them. They loved it. It lasted all day. They thought it was fabulous. I tried it, and it sucked. It was just awful. Very dry, big pores. I couldn't get the right color because online the colors are very deceiving. When it dried down, it was very, very, very bad into the lines, and then I got the lace patterns. I got the dryness around the nose, all the lace down in here, the pores, dry patches up in the forehead. It just messed up something royal. So Touch and Soul, and this was more expensive than some of the other ones I tried on other people's recommendations. So Again, you know, if you have different skin care going on, you will react differently to foundation. So when somebody says something's the greatest ever, make sure you understand what their skin type is, so you can see that you're not going to make a terrible mistake. So now, also adding in all the Tarte stuff to my collection, I had seen several people talk about Namaste, and Namaste is a liquid lip product from Tarte, and this is the basic look of it. It's a very, very pretty color. I don't know if you can see this. Very pretty. It dries very, very matte, and it needs something over the top of it. I was disappointed in this because the wear down was very quick. The wear down on a lip product to me is everything. You know, if you put on a pretty lipstick, doesn't matter how pretty it is, if after your first cup of coffee it's gone. And so all of the lip products that I got from Tarte, I seem to see the same problem, and so it's going, no matter how pretty the colors are, and there are some beautiful colors. Couldn't do it. So they're all going. Now somebody mentioned that this was their favorite blush palette from the drugstore, and this is from Catrice, and I like Catrice a lot. In fact, I have their foundation that I love, the HD foundation, which is pretty much like Fenty foundation. It's very much like it. This is a set, basically, a little combination of a bronzer, a darker setting powder, the highlighter, and 2 blushes. Now this blush isn't bad, it's a little strong. This blush it comes up a little bit orange. And the bronzers aren't too bad. The highlighter is very weird. I don't know if I have a cheek left for that, but it looks almost like a cool toned gold. It's just weird. I don't like it at all. I didn't like this palette, and I'm afraid that, and I like Catrice, because Catrice is kind of the older sister to the Essence brand. They're both owned by the same company, so their blushes, Essence blushes, are like the best in the world. So you know the formulation's probably pretty close with Catrice. I don't like these colors. I just didn't like this assortment at all for me. But that's my skin tone, and this is the California in a Box set. So it was disappointing to me. Also disappointing, and it was on somebody else's favorite list. This is the Tarte bronzer in Hotel Heiress. Cute packaging, this little leatherette, kind of golden leatherette bronzy thing. This particular bronzer, it's very patchy on, and maybe it's just me, maybe it just didn't go over well over my other makeup, but I didn't like it at all, and I'm so glad I got it as part of a set with the, you got the highlighter, and this is a set. I like the highlighter, but I didn't like this at all. I do like Park Avenue Princess, which is another shade of this, and I think it's a different formulation because this just didn't work out for me at all. e.l.f. put out this duo-ended mascara, and somebody had mentioned in one of their reviews that they loved all of the e.l.f. mascaras and that we should try them because they're good. Well, this one is the duo-ended. It's called the Smudge Proof Mascara, and this is a black shade. Some of the mascaras are in colors now, as you know, different colors. This is double-ended, and it says lower and upper, and this is the lower brush. Reminds me a lot of the Tight Line from IT Cosmetics, so you can just get really close without stabbing yourself on your lower eyelid. Really, really nice. And you can also tight line with it. If you get up really close underneath your lashes, you can tight line with it as well, just like you would with that IT Cosmetics Tight Line mascara. On the other side is the upper lash mascara. The only thing is the formula didn't really do much for me. It didn't really build big lashes. It didn't really give me a lot of volume. It was just kind of there. So I think if I were to purchase this, it would really just be to get that tight line end of the mascara. And it did get a little crispy on me midday. So you get the crispiness, you don't get a nice big honking lash. It's a fail in my book. So, and that's a shame, because I'd like to see inexpensive drugstore products win out on these things. I really do. I'm really rooting for the underdogs here. So speaking of mascara disappointment, Covergirl just released yet another mascara. You know, I went on to Ulta, and I'm going to show you this. There's 17 different mascaras from Ulta. 17 different mascaras. It's a sea of mascaras. I'll be like Nancy Kerrigan. I'm like, why? Why? Why do they need 17 different kinds of mascara? And you know, half of them at least are rated 3 stars or less. So if I was working at Covergirl, I would say, hey, why don't we get rid of the lower 40, you know? Let's get rid of half of them at least. Why don't we just have 5 really good mascaras for every type of situation? You know, the ones who want big honking lashes, the ones who want waterproof lashes, the ones who want good lower lashes, the ones who want, you know, just make the best of the best. And you can see by the ratings the ones that people like and buy the most. It's so confusing. And it, you know, if I was new to makeup and I walked into the drugstore and I saw this sea of mascaras, all of them saying 4 by, 6 by, 10 by, you know, butterfly lash, you know, I wouldn't know what to do. Oh, it's overwhelming. Well, this one sucks, and this is called Exhibitionist, and it says 90% loved the results. Well, I'm part of the 10%, and it's probably the only 10% I'm ever going to be in. I didn't like this at all. What a waste of money, and it's going back. And one of the reasons I bought it was because it was sitting next to something that somebody named as one of their best of the year. Covergirl Lash Blast Amplify Primer. This is a lash primer you put on, and then you can put the mascara on. It's supposed to give you big, booming, long-lasting lashes. This did nothing. This was like the Emperor's New Clothes. Okay, this was a huge, awkward, bulky brush. Look how big, looks like a caterpillar. It's like a caterpillar. You put that on, it coats a little bit of white onto your lashes, upper and lower, and then you're supposed to put your mascara on over the top, and you're supposed to have big booming lashes. Well, I saw nothing. I asked the bug man too. I had one on one side without it on the other side, and he's looking at it, he's going, looks the same to me. So, and he doesn't care, you know, he's not rooting for it. So a lot of these lash primers, I just think they're a waste of money and a waste of time. And you can just get the same effect by putting another coat of mascara on, so why buy this? So this was a fail, definitely a fail, and both of these items are going back to the store. Another fail lash primer was the Estee Lauder lash primer. Somebody said that this was their best. Any mascara you put over the top of this, it made it just booming big lashes, and I thought, okay, I will get some. I went to Amazon, I got a triple pack. It looks like a lash tint, and it's called a Little Black Primer, it's called. And you put it on, and it tints your lashes nicely. It looks like a nice little weak mascara. And then you put your regular mascara over the top, and it's supposed to va-va-boom. Well, it did nothing. What a waste. I'm so glad I got these as little samplers, because 2 of them are going in my giveaway, and the one I opened is going in the trash. Somebody mentioned this as being their favorite mascara for 2018, the NARS Climax. This is anticlimactic, I can tell you that much. And it's got one of those big, spiky, kind of lash wands that pokes you, it like scratches you when you're putting it on. What a pain. I didn't like this at all. I don't know, NARS never did it for me with mascara. So the Climax mascara from NARS was a fail for me, and I'm pretty open-minded. I put my mascaras through a lot, and I've got a lot of them I love, so it's not like I don't like anything. This didn't do it for me, and it's so overpriced. I think one of the trends this year is going to be topping lipsticks with other things, because I keep seeing these things. Now this is the Too Faced. This is in collaboration with a YouTuber, I think, Jordana. This is Social Butterfly, and this is a topper you put over the top of a lipstick so that it makes it shimmer. I'm going to talk about this for a minute. These toppers that have this Tartist, this is Remix from Tarte, very similar idea. It's got the shade shifting going on between the orange and the red. Looks really pretty over the top. I'm just going to put that there next to it. And then the next one I have is from MAC, and this is called CakeTop from MAC. Very similar, again, a similar color. It's this kind of pinky red orange shade. I don't know if that's going to be the shade. But you can see the Too Faced and the MAC are very similar in the shade zone, and the one that is from Tarte is more of a pink. But anyway, these have micro glitter shimmer in them. And I noticed when I put it on over my lipstick and it wore down, my lips still looked pretty from it, but the little micro glitters were on my lips, and I'm going to have to look up what's in micro glitter, because we're ingesting that stuff in our system, and all of the glitters we're putting on our eyelids, they're getting into our eye ducts and our eyeballs and things. So I have to see what micro glitter is to see if it's harmful, because we're ingesting that. Every time I drink a cup of coffee, these little micro glitters are going down my throat. So I don't know. The Tarte one didn't last at all, so this is definitely, not going to stay in my collection. The Too Faced one, it's probably the prettiest out of all of them. The MAC one, I was surprised, didn't have a whole lot of, you couldn't see it all that well. I was really surprised that it doesn't show up all that well. For a MAC product, you would expect it would. Probably out of the group, the Too Faced is the best one. But again, all those little micro glitters remained. At the end of the day, I still had all these little micro glitters on my mouth, and people couldn't see them. I mean, nobody gets as close to you as your 10 by mirror, so it's not like that. But I don't know, I'm just on the fence about it. But it's pretty packaging. I love the color of it, and I think it really makes like reds and dark mattes look very pretty, and it warms them up and softens them up a little bit. So the very last thing I want to talk about is from Tarte, and I know that I mentioned it when I was doing my Tarte show. This is the brow tint, and this is the Busy Gal's brow tint. Now it's got 5 stars, everybody loves it. I didn't like it because I thought it was very dark. But what I really don't like about it, besides it being the lightest color, and it is a brown, it's not a light brown, it's not a taupe brown, it's very dark. But it doesn't cover gray hair. And I find that my little cheapy Essence thing and my Ulta thing do a better job than this does. So the Busy Gal's brow tint, it's very overpriced for what it is. You can get Anastasia Beverly Hills for the same price. So I would avoid getting the Tarte Busy Gal's brow tint. And also the pomade is very dark, and it's the lightest shade of it. I like to use a lighter shade. I don't like to have big old dark black eyebrows with my hair being all different shades of whatever wig I'm wearing. So yeah, I don't like it. It's just anyway, I hope all of you are having a wonderful week and have a beautiful day. Take care. Toodles.